Are you going to introduce this awful voice boy?
We've got to banter with it for a little while. My voice is immaculate, Price. I'll have you know.
It doesn't sound like it.
It's great.
Just like this lighting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Welcome to the F Movie Podcast. No, I'm kidding. More energy. Welcome to the F Movie Podcast. I'm your host today, Dylan Camacho, and today we are in a brightly lit new studio, live.
Same tablecloth, though.
Same tablecloth, same everything else. Listen,
we didn't want to confuse anybody.
Right. We know consistency is what you come here for.
Pull
this
the rug
podcast.
out from under you all or anything. We're in good shape here.
New lighting is brought to you by Nathan and Mason over here. Price is over here. And they're host on this episode as well. What movie are we talking about, Nathan?
Well, keeping and not wanting to confuse anybody and have things as they usually
I say we just skip the summary with this one.
There is way too much to
this
talk
movie,
about.
Yeah.
I picked a movie that, of course, I would pick.
Yeah.
Which means it sucks.
No.
Which means it sucks.
No, it just means that it's old and probably was part of a cult classic thing.
It is probably terrible. So before we go into this movie, I want to go ahead and get this out there. Nathan, we have all talked about this. Nathan by far has picked the most dud movies that we have picked, that we have had on here. I don't know what the deal is, but if Nathan picks it, it's probably going to be bad. I don't know what it is.
He's picked some weird diamond in the rough movies.
Like what?
Though.
Yeah.
I enjoyed Repo.
Repo was
I know
great.
You didn't.
Repo was.
I enjoyed The Fifth Element.
Give me the 10 button on the Fifth Element. Yeah.
V for Vendetta wasn't too bad.
I love V for Vendetta.
V for Vendetta is probably the best. That he's
you
picked.
liked Crimson Peak.
I was okay with Crimson Peak.
Crimson Peak was kind of in the middle lane.
Nathan has had some rough ones, and I think
a lot
the
of
past
rough
couple
ones.
have been roughish. But he's had some
I
decent ones.
definitely picked these on purpose. I think it's just
To spite
I
me.
don't believe
He
you.
hates all of us.
I don't believe you.
I do like this movie.
Now, here's the thing. At this point, I believe that you like these movies.
Because he keeps picking them.
You don't have to prove it to us anymore.
Please stop proving it to us.
Oh, the movie we're talking about is Excalibur, by the way.
Which year was that? 1981?
1981.
81's Excalibur. Here's the summary. We follow Arthur's life from before he was even born
From conception.
Yeah, from conception until death. That's it. That's all we're going to use to describe it because there's a lot.
You know that first little section? You know the only movie I can think of that shows boob that quickly in the movie besides Thanksgiving? The Room. The Room is the only other movie I know to throw you into a sex scene that quick and show you boob.
Yeah.
Besides this movie.
Interesting comparison you have there. It's almost like you were tying it to this quality as well.
No, I love The Room.
Oh, wow.
Love The Room.
That sex scene is so ridiculous too, with him I'm literally wearing a full suit of
Yes. I almost forgot about that. He's like,
There's a lot of things. Low key, here's the thing. Here's how you make a big difference out of this. If you go into this thinking this is just a very intentionally bad comedy, it makes a slight difference to your quality of this movie.
That's how I view it.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's such a serious movie.
No, but the direction of this movie is intentionally meant to be serious, right?
The Room is a movie that's
well,
it's supposed to be serious, but you have to take it comedically because it's no way to be taken seriously. But this is a very serious movie. They're playing everything very serious. The entire movie. Besides that one little slapstick humor thing where Merlin's in a pond or something, he's like, whoa, whoa, and then he just falls backwards like a laugh track needs to be played.
Merlin in general tends to be very tonally different from the entire rest of this movie. I get it, they want him to be standing young and eccentric in his own ways, but his tone really just, honestly, the Merlin scenes where he just started being wacky and he'd come in and he's just very upbeat, or if he's messing with, I forgot her name. It's Mordred's mom.
Morgana?
Morgana, yeah. Whenever he's messing with Morgana and he's just having a good old time, I'm like, why is he auditioning to be the Joker in this movie?
But he doesn't. But the actor doesn't play the goofball stuff well. The serious stuff, when after they win that battle, Arthur wins that battle, and they're all joking around. He comes in, and is like, "Hey," and he gives that speech. I was like, he can actually do serious stuff well, but the goofy stuff,
and then it's just the goofy stuff for most of the time.
Terrible.
Yeah, but we're just getting into the pros and cons. We're not waiting. We've waited weeks to get to this movie, and we are lock and loaded for all the goods and some of the bads.
Yeah.
Mason, what are some of your quick thoughts?
I agree. I think this movie takes itself very seriously, and they do try to implement some of those jokes. It wasn't just the Marlin falling into the pond. It was some of the dialogue was similar to that every so often. There was a couple one-liners from one that I caught myself that was funny, right? And then I would see one of them chuckle, and I'd be like, okay, just want to make sure that was supposed to be a joke. Okay,
Do I laugh?
Like I think that's funny, but I don't know. So I kind of found myself sort of like, I don't know what to do in some of these parts, but I like how serious the movie was because it was playing King Arthur from this point of his life all the way up until the end.
Yeah.
You have to know that the Holy Grail came out, what, in the mid-70s? Monty Python?
Yeah, 74 or something like that.
Yeah, like this movie's surely to goodness trying to spin that into a reality, like...
They try to take it to be a very realistic Shakespearean style movie. Yeah.
I don't know, I think they did it fairly well. It was just so long.
This was another one of those ones, too, where it's set in Britain, and they have, like, a lot of British theatrical actors in it, and it's, again, one of those movies where it debuts into, like, film mini actors that then went on to do much better things.
They had Liam Neeson, Ian McKellen. Wait,
Ian McKellen?
Not Ian McKellen.
Patrick Stewart.
Yeah.
He was in it.
I always get Magneto and Xavier into my head with those ones.
That's fair.
There was another really big actor.
There were some other ones.
Yeah, there's at least a couple other ones. The cast
one
on
of
this
the
is
girls
well.
was like famous.
Oh, Helen Mirren.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah, she's very big at that time. So I would say at moments when the tone sticks the landing, it's actually a pretty good run with it. So I'll say that obviously they have the Shakespearean mindset with that, which makes sense, one, with the actors in mind, but two, with the content. It's an old knight's tale of Arthur, which is like, I mean, essentially the whole not national anthem, whatever. If we have the American Eagle here, then the UK has like the tale of King Arthur, essentially. That is like their like go-to bread and butter like nationalism story in a way. And the Shakespearean part to it really kind of lends its tone to this at times. And the times where it gets a little wonky, like when Merlin starts getting just a little bit too eccentric, that part tend to turn me off, or if the tone started going just a little bit too far into it. Because this is a movie that wants to have kind of a grounded tone while still also steering away a little bit further and further in with this. See, who else do we have? We got Nigel Terry on this. Liam Neeson, remember that one. Nicholas Clay was really big in that time as well, actually.
Paul Jeffrey,
yeah. So this actually is a pretty stacked roster as far as that time period goes. I remember thinking like a lot of these names and kind of reading up on it, I was like, oh man, this was either a great debut or just people were having a really hot run. So I think at the time Excalibur probably had a lot of hype going into theaters. So like, holy shit, this is going to be a huge film.
Yeah. I mean, the only reason I even know about this movie existing is because my dad like owned it on VHS, and I remember like seeing it as a kid.
This as a kid, I feel like would give you a lot, probably what a lot of people describe as like the Star Wars rose-tinted glasses. They're like, man, like this is a movie, if you go back and watch Star Wars now, and if you've never watched it or whatever, they're like, it's hard to get into if they're like the original ones, because it's like you really have to have that attachment. I think the same way this movie has that same like kind of mindset to it. If you watch this as a kid and growing up, I think as a kid this would have been like a sweet movie to watch.
Yeah.
Because I remember when they even had a TV show like that was like Merlin, and like they had like Xena and like a handful of these like just warrior
like
piece movies.
Xenon and Conan and like all of those ones like that was my thing as a kid.
Those were sweet as a kid, and then I think those kind of like exactly with this movie is like just a movie production version of that for honestly a little bit too long. Like this is before they just made sequels and series. They're like, we're gonna do one movie. And then, because I think it was you saying that this was the guy wanted to go on to make the Lord of the Rings movies.
Well,
and this
he
was kind of
originally wanted to make Lord of the Rings. Some of the set pieces in this movie were from where he was like trying to pitch being the one to get to do Lord of the Rings.
Right.
And boy, would that have been crazy if Lord of the Rings had been done back then and not done at the time.
I probably wouldn't even know what it is because I would not have watched it.
Yeah, it wouldn't have gotten the fame and stuff it needed to really kind of hit in this modern time. Because I think it says a lot. For like the 80s, nerdiness was still very much in this dungeon dweller, D&D style, like kind of honestly like taboo stuff.
Yeah.
But I think kind of moving forward now, we're in this age of like just geeky, nerdy culture, stuff like that. So like everything, Lord of the Rings onwards.
Lord of the Rings even like slightly predated that.
Yeah, I mean before even the comic book era became the big deal. Right.
But yeah, I mean it's definitely something that it feels... Like, I understand why my dad had it, because my dad was into D&D back in the day, too. And this was, like, this definitely feels to me like just that kind of wheelhouse of like really bad, cheesy, like high fantasy sort of stuff.
Yeah, like this was their bread and butter. If you played
Yeah.
D&D like 2.0 or 1.0, whatever version it was at that time.
He played first edition.
Yeah,
so
then
he was-
this is your movie. Like,
Yeah.
you go and be like, hell yeah, here's a campaign live.
Yeah, and it's interesting to me that this movie is very high production value. Like everybody's wearing really nice armor.
Mhm.
Like every single person has just full armor.
What's his face is when he introduced... I'm terrible with names on this stuff. This is no surprise.
Which
Camelot's, the silver...
The Knights of the Round Table.
Yeah, well, no, but the...
Or
one-
Lancelot.
Lancelot, yeah. Whenever you first see Lancelot's armor
is
sweet. Like, it's just this bright silver contrast to everybody.
And Mordred's armor is pretty.
Mordred's
cool.
armor is super cool, I think.
You don't like that? I
Yeah.
thought it looked like a playset. Like it looked like that's something I bought like Party Central or something, and that'd be like a costume to wear.
Well, maybe they designed
It
it
probably
after
was.
Mordred.
Yeah.
Lancelot's looked awesome, but not
Yeah.
Mordred's.
I think...
I liked the fact that they tried to make something a little bit different for him, like
Yeah.
something that looked a little off-putting and kind of.
It's supposed to make you feel uncomfortable because
Yeah.
that's Mordred in a nutshell, and
Yeah.
I think that you got to find that armor that's symbolic of that character. And Mordred's is like this little innocent kid's face, but it's like weird curly thing. It's like it's a
and
weird
it's like
contrast.
multiple faces along the
Yeah.
side of it. Yeah,
Like if you look at it from different angles, you see it as different things. And I think that in art translation to be like this is the character, let's take that and make an art set to kind of give that is a really cool execution with that. Because I remember seeing like Mordred's like, I'm like, I've seen this before, but I'm like, man, it was kind of sweet seeing it like in contrast and all that story.
I seriously didn't like anything about this.
Meanwhile,
I really cannot say like this and Repo are almost similar in my book in how much I did not like them. I'm sorry, like I cannot think. The only thing I could think of that I kind of enjoyed about this movie was the song that they used at the end, that like opera song that they used, like to get real hyped up about Arthur going into battle,
Yeah.
and then I was like, wait, that's just like public domain songs. That's just like everybody's heard that song. It's been used a lot. I just like the song because it's that
I
song.
wonder,
Not because
like
it's here.
if this is like one of the first times that song got used or not. That's
Yeah,
what I would
I
be
could-
curious about because
Yeah.
that song is a hype song.
yeah.
Like that's just like there's some serious conflict about to come and it's gonna be awesome.
And I never felt the urgency that like that song kind of like signalized like, oh, there's this huge battle between Arthur and Mordred, and like Arthur's outnumbered and stuff like that. And it's like I was not invested enough in any of the characters to like really care that much, because although like it's interesting that they do paint each character as like having like they're not just one-dimensional characters. Like they do like show they're bad and they're good. They show them in such like there's no like if they're doing good, they're like an angel. If they're doing bad, they're like dressing up as somebody else and pounding this dude's wife or something.
Yeah.
Like there's no
Word.
like real middle ground. Like they paint the middle ground by doing these two extremes, and then there's the middle ground.
There's
Just no between them. Like there's nothing like
There's nothing human about the middle ground.
Exactly.
There's either heroes or villains, and I think, but again, I think it lends
I
lends
think-
itself to the Shakespearean tone
yeah,
still.
the Shakespearean tone, the source material
Yeah.
as well. Like I wanted to, and I didn't get a chance to, but I wanted to dig a little bit more into like how close were they trying to follow the actual story,
Right.
because there's a lot of weird stuff where it just like jumps to like, and suddenly like while searching for the Grail, Lancelot's apparently been like just a priest.
that's
or
literally what I was
something.
just about to ask. I was
Yeah.
like, did I miss something about
No,
Lancelot?
There's a handful of times where I'm like, did I miss like 5 scenes in this movie? Like, why are we here? What is going on?
Or like whenever Excalibur gets like broken
Broken
and
in
like
half.
thrown into the river, and then some lady just
Here you go,
like,
fam. I got you.
like, there's a lot of that stuff.
And Arthur's like, what is going on? How is this happening? Merlin's like, take it! Take it!
Obviously
And Arthur's like,
take it.
I don't
Yeah.
know. It's just like, take it!
Low-key, I think it's super meta that like Merlin. It feels like Merlin is like the director to their actors. Everybody watches.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, why is this happening? This doesn't make. Just do it. Act it out.
He knows a million times more
Did
than
you all
he leads
notice
on.
during that scene, like some of Merlin's facial expressions and like exasperation? It's just absolutely
Oh
hilarious.
yeah,
Oh, yeah, like-
he was
Because he was very much just
concerned.
like, what? Like, he just did something terrible. Why is the lady in the lake helping him?
Yeah.
Like, get it though, go!
We don't know how long this is gonna last. I literally have no idea.
Well, she vanishes. I don't know.
It makes you think that they just got the script for that scene right beforehand, and they have nothing knowing ahead of time.
Yeah.
And then as things happening, they're just like, "No, we want your general
No, like
reactions."
what they probably did is like this person knows what they're gonna do. This person knows what they're gonna do, but they don't know what each other are doing. So they're just confused as they're seeing like different people doing things that they didn't expect.
Yeah.
I honestly believe that would make a lot of the movie make a lot of sense, because at times you feel like that these are all just characters on their own path that just happen to be in the same shots. Not so much that like this was all like a well-produced thing where everybody kind of like knew, they're like, hey, I know you're going this way. This is kind of like it felt like there was zero rehearsal. So they're like, we just got good actors because we wanted them to improvise whenever we just gave them, here's your job.
But I feel like this is kind of getting into how like we review movies, because like the way you two are talking, it was like how you do on most movies, in that you're like, well, maybe they're like, kind of like when we're talking about Silent Hill, like, oh, they're doing this like because of the source material and blah, blah, blah. And I like this, even though the movie didn't lead it on, but it's falling off the source material. And Mason and I are watching it like, this is a movie. This is one movie. I want to judge it by what I see in the movie.
A set list and follow that list.
So
exactly.
as far as that goes, I just feel like that discussion is something interesting to bring in. Not like, I mean, I get that I'm like still looking at the movie as it is.
Right.
But yeah, I think that's something a little bit more to dig into that I always find a little bit.
And Price just doesn't want to bring any positivity to this, but
it just doesn't shape my opinion at all whether or not like this actor. Or, like,
see, it doesn't shape yours, but it's not for you. That's the thing. For like people
this
like
movie's not for me.
Exactly. So for people like me and Nathan, and I'm not saying that I'm like leaping in to drop this movie a 10. Like all my thoughts on how the movie all lands out, that'll come out in the score. But as far as like all things considered, I like a good source material stuff, and honestly, the King Arthur story is really sweet. But I think about things that kind of do it differently and kind of ways that I like it more. So there's an anime, Fate Grand, or whichever Fate one that is, Fate Stay Night.
There's a million of them.
Yeah, there's a bunch. Fate Stay Night is the one where it kind of takes like one of the main characters. Essentially, I'm going to very briefly bring this up. So they kind of take history or heroes from all bits of history, and like they're all like these spirits they bring into this big like battle royale.
Like every Fate series.
Yeah, every Fate series takes like history heroes from all like the peaks and times, and then they like all fight against each other as one big battle. That's the short version. I'm not going to get into it, but they have like King Arthur, who's like a female character in this one, and like it kind of gives her a little background tale in that one. So it kind of brings a King Arthur tale in with like a weird twist on the whole situation that's going on. And I think just small stuff like that, I'm like, that's sweet. I like seeing reinventions of this. This is very much just start to finish. Here's the tale. The tale is sweet. Like now that's kind of the thing like that puts me into this movie is like, logistically, I really like the tale because it's really a night tale with all this mystery madness, and like it's a D&D campaign through and through in that way too.
Oh yeah.
But now into like the movie bits of execution though, how it's executed in the movie definitely has a lot to be desired.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go on my way to say like watch this movie. This is a good movie because as a movie, if I'm strictly taking out all the passion for
that's what we're doing here.
Shut up. No, it's not. We're looking at the picture as the whole thing. We have the lore and what it talks about, and there's this. I like the source material, and I like what it presents. And at times, this movie has moments where it actually kind of sticks the landing with it. Like, there are times where I'm like, okay, you actually kind of got me on this scene. This scene actually looks like it's done. But most scenes between then is just like, oh, this is all over the place. Like, or man, this movie is going, it's still going. They're really going to do this all in 2.5 hours, aren't they?
I thought King Arthur was about to die, and yet here he is, still alive.
Caesar, everybody.
Well, and I mean, we'll get to how much needs to be cut from this movie, but a lot would need to be cut for this to be a good movie.
Can we all just skip a segment and just all universally agree this movie's fat as hell? This movie is American obese, okay?
I mean, like, at the end, the scene where he's like, go throw the sword into the lake, and the guy goes to the lake, is like, I can't do it. And then he goes back, and it's like, no, throw the sword into the lake.
Yeah.
Like, that was so unnecessary.
Yeah. If he just
that was like several minutes of time that did not need to occur at all.
And this is a movie full of those decisions. Like, strictly, but there are so many times that's like, why are you wasting my time?
And I think the way they justify that is by labeling it as an epic, which is what this movie like really is. It's an epic movie.
I mean, it is.
But there's like, even a movie that's longer that just came out, The Irishman on Netflix, is 3.5 hours long, and it's labeled as an epic. And it is really good, and it actually earns that runtime. Unlike something like this, it's like an hour shorter. It's because an epic needs to like really delve into the characters and show like what they're really about, which again, I know y'all keep saying like it's fantasy, like it's high fantasy at that, like there's magic and stuff like that. But if it's going to label itself as an epic, it needs to earn that title rather than just the length of the movie. I don't know.
Well, I mean, that kind of gets into the discussion of defining epics, though. I mean, anybody can define epic as, like, here's a movie covering a grand tale over one long period of time, and somebody could say that's the definition of an epic. versus somebody saying, well, this is a good version of this. I mean, I still think it falls into the category, even if it doesn't execute it. Like,
yeah, it's there. It's just not a good example.
Right. Epic is the category of which it is, not necessarily the quality of what it is, because, yeah, the quality is not up to an epic tale of that.
This movie probably could have almost an hour cut out of it.
Easily.
And would be a lot better for it.
I honestly, I don't
Because I think it has good times and good moments in it, and of the time that it was in, because I know that you don't consider that a thing to consider as well, but it being a movie of the 80s, like if it were an hour shorter and a movie of the 80s, I think I would like it even more. Like I would respect more what they did in the time that they did it if they hadn't have thrown in so much nonsense.
Right.
And there's some arcs that could have been cut too.
I mean, there's a handful of arcs, but that... Yeah, and I'm not going to go into defending that. Like, this is one of those things where it's like they took here's the contrast to like a based on a book movie, is that some movies just kind of adapt or, cut some parts and do this. This is one that took the book and used that as the script and just said, page 1, here's this scene. Page 2, here's this scene. They skipped no details in this whole tale on that one, which makes you kind of sit here and realize, all right, maybe we don't need to have book movies be start to finish the whole thing. Now, if it's a smaller book, sure, but King Arthur's Tale in a book form is probably like yay big or something. Because it probably reads like, all right, here's this character's chapter, boom. Here's this character's chapter, boom. And here's all the knights that are around doing their stuff, boom, 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 boom. Mordred,
the whole hunt for the Grail and all that.
Yeah.
Mason, where are you at? You haven't said much at all this whole time.
It's like he's been
I heard
gone.
you guys talking about the armor and stuff. I agree. I thought the armor was top notch. I thought it was really cool, especially Lancelot's. It was very shiny. It was meant to, define him as his character. Whose was the other one that you said was
Mordred.
a playset?
Mordred was the kid.
The gold armor.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, I thought that one was okay too. I thought that they put a lot of production into this movie. Like, whether it looked like it or not, I think they went probably overboard for the time.
I'd give you that too.
Yeah, because
there's a lot of other interesting notes too about it as far as like the just the look of everything. Apparently, it rained every single day of filming.
I don't know why everybody felt so miserable.
Entire time
they had to
were filming,
rush in there and do it.
At some point during the day, every single day that filming was happening, it was raining. And
God, what a
that
miserable experience
actually,
that
like
would be.
according to what I was reading, it's like that actually ended up making it kind of look better.
It was
Because
always just
all of
sloppy.
all the greenery was super lush and like it made everything look much more vibrant than it might have otherwise. Because they filmed this thing in England too.
Right.
Which is always raining.
True traditionalist here across the board on that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, where else are you going to find a castle unless you build it, right?
Yeah, and they're not going to build a castle. Well, I don't know. They might have. Here's the I think the easiest way to sum up this movie is, in like 3 words or less, as far as a critique, is very much style over substance. That they put so much into production, so much into ambition into this movie, but the substance and quality of which they could have done it and making like a good movie to kind of tell the tale with that. They were less worried about making a good movie and more focused on putting the whole story out there.
They were going to make you believe it with the looks.
Yeah, like they were just like, you know what, if we engage them and they just fall into this world, then, hopefully they can just deal with the runtime and, maybe the overtop acting at times and the very Shakespearean tone and all this, and hopefully that sells them on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, any other closing thoughts before we get into scores?
Scores.
Yeah. Mason's ready for scores.
I think we're ready for scores.
So, Price, we're going to do you last. Nathan, we're going to do you first.
Okay.
Phrasing.
Get ready.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna land at about a 7 with it. I do really like the movie. I think it's got a lot of flaws, but
you still give it a 7.
It's
But
one
he
of
likes the
those.
movie.
It's one of those movies that it's one I would find more enjoyable sitting and watching with other people because, again, I do see it more comedically. It's like more like Mystery Science, like sit there and just kind of like riff on it a little bit with your buddies, that kind of movie. And I rate it pretty well for that because I think it artistically is there. It's an interesting movie.
Yeah.
And I would watch
It's much
it
to
again
be
at some
chewed
point.
on, much to be discussed afterwards if you if you do so.
This is a well done steak on the chewy factor for
I
sure.
know. So 7?
Yeah.
Cool. I'm going to go right at a 6. 6s for me normally mean that I enjoy it, but not enough to tell anyone to watch it. I will in no way, shape, or form tell anyone to watch this movie. Because it's a British-made movie that a lot of people might not completely not understand. I don't mean to sound like more intelligent than anyone. What am I looking for here?
Yeah,
like,
you don't like Foxcatcher.
Yeah, obviously. I think
Burn the studio down.
burn this place to the ground.
So fast.
Yeah, so I don't know.
got the new studio.
I know, we can't burn it down.
Yeah, I know. I just got it.
Yeah.
We'll go back to the old one. It's fine. They'll never notice.
We'll keep the tablecloth.
I think a 6 is fair for me. I will not watch this movie again. I probably won't think much about it either, but I can understand the thought behind it. To me, it reminded me of a movie that you would watch in high school. Mm-hmm. I think this is one of those that your history teacher would throw on a.
I don't want to teach
rough
today.
Day. Yeah,
I'm too hungover.
Exactly. We're gonna watch this on Thursday and Friday this week. So I don't know. I think it kind of had that feel to it. Educational, very much so. If you're not familiar with the tale, you just have to pick which parts to believe. But yeah, that's where I'm at.
Yeah, this lands at a 6.5. I'm gonna be right between you guys on this one. This is objectively a bad movie. Objectively.
I hate you all.
And there's no other way to see it any other way than that. I do think that here's the thing. So again, like I said, there's brief moments where like all of the point of what they're trying to get across does come through it for whenever I was watching it. And again, this is a tale that I'm like, okay, this is pretty sweet. But I think the ambition was way bigger than what they executed on, and the execution had a lot to be desired. At the same time, this is one of those movies where I sit there and say, I would love for this to kind of get like a really awesome, very well made remake. Yes, like this is one that if like I'm probably not going back to watch this version anytime soon. But you give me like a sweet remake of this, I think this could be an awesome movie. It could be an over the top, pretty.
3 good
sweet
actors.
Movie. Yeah,
they did something like that with Robin Hood. Like last
they've been trying to do Robin Hood for like 3 or 4 times in a row.
Like,
yeah,
Jamie Foxx and something else.
Medieval England does not translate well with our cinema. We just cannot stick the landing on that. But you know what? If like a really ambitious director came in and took this and did this really well, this would be an awesome movie. It has the skeleton, but all the meat and the organs are failing and dying, and this movie just probably needs to be put down. So 6.5. Yeah, go ahead, Bryce.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and preface my score by saying you all can honestly ask me any questions you want because I will justify this score. I don't care what you say.
Okay,
I'm ready
this is going to be, like, I'm not doing this score to troll. I'm not doing this because you all gave it scores I don't agree with.
He's going to give it a 0.
I'm saying this because I truly feel that way about this movie. I'm honestly giving it a 1.5.
Okay.
I did not like this movie. And then when it goes on, like, normally when I don't, like, when I hate a movie, like, I'll give it, like, maybe, like, a 3 or something like that. But then the runtime was just, like, jabbing me. Like,
I was going to say,
you were sitting here watching the rest of this movie.
You were getting walloped with each hook.
Yeah.
Yes.
Every time that you would, like, justify something, you would just get walloped again with the other side.
And everything, like, I did not like literally anything about this movie. I was like, oh, there's Patrick Stewart. Maybe he'll do something. And then, nope, he's got
I love the part whenever he was reading people's minds, though. It was great.
And I didn't like anything about this movie. It was long. It tried doing way too much, and it did none of it well in my book. The only thing, like, the reason I'm giving it a 1.5 rather than, like, a half or a 1 is because, like, I do think the production was pretty great for its time. Like, the sets were pretty cool. The costumes were pretty cool, but, like, that's not what I watch movies for. I watch movies because I like the movie, not just because, like, oh, this is pretty and, like, I like that. Like, it's just, I didn't like any of the characters. I didn't really hate any of the characters. I was very just, like, potato about all the characters. Besides Merlin, I was like, I do not like him. He was annoying.
But Morgana.
I mean, she was hot.
I mean, she got to bang Arthur, and that was really weird.
So, full disclosure, the only other movie that Price is rated this low, Repo.
Yeah.
I didn't know I rated Repo that low.
Oh, yeah, you hated Repo.
I detested that movie.
I think we've definitely figured out exactly the difference
between
the two of us.
Yeah.
I am very much about aesthetics.
Yep.
Like, I will like something just because I think it looks cool.
You window shop.
Is cool.
Yeah.
And I'm exactly the opposite. Like, I want the movie to be good. I don't care if they're just like in, say, a cabin and just talking to each other like a movie. I like a movie like that.
You want the displays to look nice in a store. Price wants the prices to be right in the store. You'll shop straight.
I did go to Ollie's today.
Yeah.
I went to Ollie's today.
That's what that makes sense.
It has affected this movie's score this entire time.
Nathan would never go into Ollie's because it doesn't look good.
Yeah.
So, nothing? No questions? Nobody needs anything from us?
No, I
like,
expected that much from
I
it.
understand.
That's fine.
I understand, like, this movie was so long when I watched it. I did a lot of chores. I was like carrying.
He's like,
around
I
my
drove
laptop.
out for an hour, came back.
I tried to close my computer, but it actually like reopened. I'm just kidding.
A sword.
It reopened, the sword
Yeah.
disappeared.
If I didn't have anything to do while I was watching this movie, I would probably give that movie a 5 or
I
less.
did it.
That's what
the
I'm saying.
problem.
So I understand that. It's just I was able to catch on early on that this was going to be a little bit of a drier trudge through it. The dialogue's a little rougher. Give your hands something to do whenever you watch this movie. Watch it, but just
also watch another movie next to it while you're watching.
play Fortnite or something.
Yeah, do something. Put it on in the background. You're probably not going to get any more lost if you just watch the movie straight up and if you were half paying attention because the scene jumps on that movie. It gets all over the place sometimes.
Yeah, you'll think you missed something, but you didn't.
You didn't. It's all there.
They just get
Weirdly, for as long as this movie is, you didn't miss things, even though it feels like you may have. That's the crazy thing about it.
Yeah, that's a wild ride.
They cut something. Lancelot had a story somewhere that we just completely missed.
It was in his armor.
Is Lancelot naked now? What's going on?
I've watched that movie.
Yeah.
I've seen that movie several times on that one. So anyway, that's almost our show. We're gonna. It is the end of the rotation, isn't it? Yeah, it's on 4. All right. So looking at
Nathan's segments get the longest runtime.
Yeah, they do.
Out of all of our...
Let's look at
the most critique.
Month in review and see which movie cycle or which movie out of this cycle for the month.
We have.
I remember mine and yours, and
I legitimately.
We have No Country for Old Men for Dylan.
Wow.
Yeah. We have Rush for mine. We have Inglourious Bastards for Price, and we have Excalibur. You may have remembered us reviewing Excalibur.
50 seconds ago.
Yeah.
Guys, remember that one time that we reviewed Excalibur?
Doesn't ring.
I barely remember doing No Country. That seems like an eternity ago.
It's because it was.
Yeah, it was eternity ago. I mean, it was 4 weeks ago, guys. Our schedule is immaculate.
Yeah.
All right, so with those 4 in mind, Nathan, take the lead.
Picking which one was our favorite out of the bunch.
Yeah, we're
Yes.
picking our
Sorry.
favorite out of the last 4 that we rotated through. It's really between Old Country and Inglourious Bastards. And I'll probably give the nod here to Inglourious Bastards on this one. It was the most completely entertaining movie. I find Old Country for Old Men very engaging, but Inglourious Bastards is just a good, fun time the whole way through.
I'd give it a better movie, at least how it landed for all of us too.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I'm same exact argument as Nathan. It is between those two, except I'm gonna go No Country. Only because I found myself so confused during Inglourious Bastards.
Is
this historically accurate?
I also I don't want to cut it down because of all of the subtitles, but I did not know that I was signing up for that going into it. I did not know it was all based
I hate
in
signing up for
France.
foreign films. If we found anything after Spirited Away, if it's not American made, Mason's gonna have a bad
He is not going to like
French horror films are perfectly fine.
Other than French horror.
Yeah. But anyway, so I'm gonna give it to No Country. Inglourious was great. I think the dark tone of No Country though won it for me, hands down.
Yeah. So it's really close between the 3. Excalibur is nowhere near this conversation.
Let me tell you what didn't make the cut.
All right. So I went in with No Country being a blind pick, and I really, really enjoyed it. And the ending, now, I still don't love it for what it was. I definitely would have enjoyed this just being a straightforward thing. Inglourious is a better movie than that one. I kind of want to give the nod to that, but it's also Quentin Tarantino, so it's hard because of course I'm going to favor that.
Just pick which one you like the most.
So I'm going to bypass both of them and actually go into Rush with them.
Yes.
Rush. You just like say Nicky Lauda.
Nicky Lauda.
Nicky Lauda.
God gave me a great ass. I could feel every little thing. Legitimately, I really like Rush. If you don't believe me, go watch our review of Rush. I come this close to giving it
Because he just keeps saying Nicky Lauda over and over. You just like
listen,
saying you pickle Rick.
He's
It's like saying
Austrian.
Pickle Rick.
He's Austrian. He has
lovely.
yeah,
He's not.
Yeah, he's a
was
total
a
dick,
very
but
good
he's
film.
he's.
It was.
It's a really good film. You can't take that away from that.
I will.
It's super fun. It's exciting. It takes something that I don't care about at all. Like here's the thing. I feel like I'm always gonna give an edge towards like sports movies that actually take me in because I don't give a shit about sports movies. But Warrior is one of my top
Warrior is
5
awesome.
favorite films of all time. It blew me away. And
Foxcatcher
Except
was
that
up
end.
there.
Foxcatcher is in my bottom bin. It's where it needs to be. But Rush kind of in that same way, kind of giving that same vibe as Warrior going into it. It was like, oh, I'm surprised at how much I'm enjoying this movie. And I actually really like the rivalry. I like all the part. I like all of it. I'm gonna go Rush. I really enjoyed that film.
Man, Warrior was so good.
We
I'm
got
still
one of
thinking
each.
about
Warrior.
Except for Excalibur, we got one of each.
And you all know
Bryce.
what I'm gonna pick.
And he's gonna be biased.
Excalibur.
Excalibur.
I didn't think I could hate something as much as this movie, so it's my favorite. No, it's definitely going to be Inglorious. I could watch that movie again tonight if I wanted to. I love that movie. And the only one that, again, would probably come close, actually nothing really comes close, but my second would have been Rush. Or
Yeah.
not Rush, stupid.
No.
No Country.
Yeah.
Yeah, because No Country I thought did something different.
Very different.
Very
Yeah. Well, and I really like the villain in it. I
Yeah.
like that he almost kind of wins, which is very different for a movie. I like that a lot, but still, Inglorious is
3 of the 4 movies
man,
were
so
really,
good.
really sweet this like cycle, all things considered. Like,
yeah.
honestly, this was a harder thing. Once I thought about all 3 of them, I'm like, I could pick any of these 3 and be pretty content with saying that this is my favorite
Yeah.
movie of the cycle.
Yeah.
But not Excalibur.
Excalibur.
That is not
You
the right.
threw an educational film
Look,
into
yeah.
a heavyweight
Here's the
title.
thing,
Yeah.
I knew I was.
It was in the wrong weight division for these fights,
I
guys.
wasn't gonna win this fight, so I threw in the one that's like I want to watch this at some point, and I'm not gonna win this
Let's
round.
throw it
Nathan-
away. Yeah.
Nathan unanimously never goes into these things thinking, I'm going to win this month. Like,
No,
I don't think anybody, no, I don't, maybe,
No.
I think Price at times maybe does, but
that is not true.
I think at times
That
he
is
does.
not
but-
true.
Wait, all right, for a quick recap, what movie of Nathan's has won the cycle?
Oh,
Did
man.
Repo?
Let's-
I want to say Repo. gave
Let's
it
let
to
him look, and we can talk about something else at the moment.
So while he's looking, we're going to go ahead and talk about next week's movie.
Before that, we don't pick the movies based on like if we think they're going to win the rotation or whatever. We're picking them because we like them and we want to talk about them, see what other people think about them.
Yeah.
We never do this on that subject because if we were, I mean, I think Mason has won like most rotations.
Yeah.
Pretty hands down, and that's just because his movies are more liked, I guess.
Mason
It's
is
just-
probably up there.
doesn't
Me
matter.
and you might be tied, or it's 1, 2,
Yeah,
3. I know.
Nathan's way,
Nathan is bottom by
way far away.
which is fine because we don't want to sit here and just pick. You can go anywhere to watch.
Well,
a
that's
popcorn
not
flavored
fun.
movie,
I,
right?
I like the idea of picking movies that I think will have interesting discussion.
Yeah, no, and I
Was that interesting enough for you?
Yeah.
So the only one that you might have taken away was V for Vendetta, but Hell or High Water was also in that
Oh,
in that
shit.
rotation. I cannot remember. We'd have to.
What were the
look
other
into it.
movies?
I'm sure Hell or High
Flipped and The
Water
Cat
took that.
Returns. It was a really good week for us.
Yeah, it was.
Flip.
I'm with certainty that Hell or High Water took that one on that one.
I do think so too, but that
I
was
probably would have picked Hell or High Water.
Yeah.
the only other one could have been in the spooky season when it was Thanksgiving, Don't Be Afraid of the Dark, Silent Hill, and 10 Cloverfield Lane. But
10
I think
Cloverfield.
10 Cloverfield took that one.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause
Silent
I
Hill
think
was like
both
a close-
of us at least picked that one.
Yeah, we were. I think Silent Hill was a close second on that one,
Yeah.
but we both.
I think
took
I
that
picked 10 Cloverfield too. I don't
one.
think
Yeah,
I
you
even
did as
picked
well.
my own.
Out of the 4, yeah.
And I love Thanksgiving too, but
Yeah.
rewatching it by yourself, not doing anything, not near as fun.
Rewatching it with 100 of your closest friends who are also comedians does not make that movie any
I
better.
disagree.
Yeah,
All of my
I
friends
mean,
love it.
You know,
It's not true.
Price has definitely thrown out a few duds.
absolutely.
Oh, well, yeah, I don't
Popstar?
disagree.
Yeah.
Popstars are great. You all love that. The Wolves, you all
Holy
put that
Grail.
all the time.
Holy Grail.
Grail.
That is
Yeah.
your own fault for being bad people because everyone loves that movie.
Look,
Everyone does.
Excalibur and Holy Grail are very similar.
All right,
I
quick.
feel-
One's good,
Identical.
one's
Quick,
terrible.
2-second discussion. No thoughts, no breaking into it. Excalibur or Holy Grail?
I'm going Excalibur.
What?
Excalibur.
You are picking it just 'cause you
Excalibur.
like me.
No, I
That's
sincerely
not true.
No, like I
My
sincerely do like Excalibur a little bit better.
Yeah.
2-second discussion.
yeah.
We're not doing this on air, but all right. So next week's
We
movies.
can do it on air. It's more fun.
We'll DM to it
We
later.
don't.
All right, we need to discuss one thing for the next like moving forward. Do we go double feature?
That's your all's pick.
Ooh.
That's fun.
Do we do double feature going into this one? We get
I
to
mean,
pick 2, but I feel
you're
like we should have some
starting
rules.
off,
We
right?
can't just have 2 fucking random
Oh
films.
no
and
no no!
something
Yeah,
together.
like 2 sequential movies
Yes.
that make sense together.
Yes.
That's fun.
I'll say 2 movies that work together. I don't think they have to be.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sequential.
they don't have to be in the same
Series.
Yeah, I
Because
wouldn't say
at
Godfather
one
1 or
point I
2 or
did-
anything like
yeah,
that.
like at one point I did say like with repos, like I want to do the modern
Yeah.
sci-fi.
Oh, that would make
and-
sense. Like
Right.
those 2 paired
Yeah.
together.
You could have like spiritual sequels or something that's
Yeah.
in the same
Yeah.
tone of that, but nothing too far off. Like you couldn't do like I can't think of 2 movies right now, like a comic book movie
Oh,
and
so many
then
good ones.
some other fucking movie. Like
Yeah.
I'm terrible with thinking on stuff right now. I'm not gonna be great on improvising, but do
Yeah.
we want to do double features going into this?
Let's do it.
Sure.
All right, that's gonna
I'm
be
fine with
interesting. I really want to throw a classics out, but I have to pick
I know
these
what
ones.
you're gonna pick.
Everybody should
talking
know at
about
this
it
point.
for a while.
I've been saying it for a long time. We're watching Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2 for next week's thing. I cannot wait. It's prime Quentin Tarantino.
Who's seen it?
Nope.
Literally, somehow I'm the only one who has seen both of these movies. It is an absolute crime, and I am correcting it. Next week's episode, we will get a double feature, which works out perfectly because
You
the
really
movie.
are hitting it right on the head because none of us have seen it, and you're hitting us with 2 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And originally the movie was actually meant to be 1, but the distributor went ahead and just put it in 2, which I actually think works in its favor. But
We'll see.
we'll talk more about that next week
All right.
for you guys, whenever it is for us.
Whenever we put it on the internet.
Yep. Any other? Yeah, that too. Any plugs? Everybody has that.
Nope.
All right. you
Voodoo Inc. Trick shots when I was in high school.
Last week.
Like, comment, subscribe.
like, comment, hit the bell so you know.
Yeah, hit
when
the
we-
bell. I forgot about the bell.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the bell is the
bell's
most
the
important thing. We never know when we're uploading these videos.
It's just gonna be one day their feet should go.
Yeah.
We'll blow up.